Hey folks, my name is Dave Kidd. I'm a psychotherapist, and every little bit of this is my podcast, the I Am Podcast, Internal Art Museum, where I take images from my psychotherapy practice and I share them with you in hopes that you'll find them useful, just like my clients do every day. So today, let's do something weird. Lil, you up for something weird? All right. Today, I want you to imagine you and your partner like two snowmen talking to each other. How nuts is that? All right, let's explore. So hear me out. In your relationships, do you sometimes feel like you and your partner get sucked into the same old unhealthy patterns of communicating? Almost like there are deep relationship ruts that you both fall into without realizing and without wanting to. You start talking about an old sore spot, and before you know it, you're doing that thing you always do. You're saying the words you always say, you're feeling the same old feelings, and sure enough, your partner's doing their totally predictable thing too. It's like a dance you're forced into. It's almost as though you're playing the same tired script day after day. If you feel that way, this episode might be for you. All right, so my daughter Lily, my sidekick, is here as always. Very happy to have her. And Lil, can you do me a favor?
Probably not.
Okay. Can you shave your head?
Probably not.
Okay.
You do that enough for both of us.
Oh, was that a burn?
Yeah. Do you feel burnt?
Scorched. All right, let's get this party started. So Lily, as always, has provided us with this amazing picture. So here I am, little old me with my big fat mouth wide open, as always, therapizing. But what? I'm therapizing a snow couple. What the hell's going on, Lil?
That was not my
This is
idea.
ridiculous.
It's not my idea. It's not my fault.
Yeah, that's true. I told you it was gonna get weird. I told you it was gonna get weird. So today we're gonna focus on a couple in relationship. And so what you'll notice is that both of these snow people have PAC written on them. Why, you ask? Very good question. Lily, tell them why.
Parents. Wait. Parent, adult?
Yeah.
Wait, parent, adult? Parents are adults.
Parent,
Adults? Adolescent.
adult, and
Wait, adolescent or adult?
adult.
Parent and adult?
Parent.
What's the difference between parent and adult?
Find out.
Okay, child,
Parent,
parent, adult,
adult, and
child.
child. Yeah, you got it. You got it. She doesn't need very many hints. She always gets it. Parent, adult, and child. Yeah, so this is the thing. So each of us has three separate parts, roles they can inhabit. Ego states is the actual technical name for them. But you can think about them as mindsets. So acknowledging and understanding these three different ego states that exist in all of us is a key in figuring out why we get stuck in unhealthy patterns and scripts. That's what we're going to look at today. So this idea of snowmen, so that's kind of my silly little bit of creativity, but it actually comes from this kind of old now psychotherapy approach. Back in the 60s, 70s, and 80s, there was a fairly popular therapeutic approach called transactional analysis by a psychiatrist named Eric Berne. He wrote a very popular book, quite famous at the time, called Games People Play. And there was a follow-up to this, which maybe was even more popular, called I'm Okay, You're Okay. So everybody knew about these books back in the day, but you hardly hear anybody talk about them now. Anyway, the ideas from today came from transactional analysis. So you can kind of see where I'm going with this. You see the 3 circles? That turns into the 3 snowmen in my creative little mind. So transactional analysis talks about 3 distinct ego states. You can think of them as roles, as ways of being, as parts within each of us. The top one is the parent. And the parent is all about rules. It's rules-based, it's authoritative, it's finger-wagging, it's judgmental, and it's high power. The adult in all of us is mature, rational, reasonable, and realistic. And the child, as you can imagine, is immature, whining, sulking, tantruming, and particularly low power as well. So you got these 2 snowmen, both made up of 3 distinct ego states, encountering each other and interacting. Let me give you a quick definition of transactional analysis, according to Dr. Berne. The unit of social intercourse, don't blush, the unit of social intercourse is called a transaction. If 2 or more people encounter each other in a social aggregation, sooner or later one of them will speak or give some other indication of acknowledging the presence of the others. This is called the transactional stimulus. Another person will then say or do something which is in some way related to this stimulus, and that is called the transactional response. Simple transactional analysis is concerned with diagnosing which ego state implemented the transactional stimulus and which one executed the transactional response. Brains exploding? What do you think, Lil? Do you kind of get that? Mm-hmm. Okay. So that's how Berne defines transactional analysis. Now, Dr. Berne gets pretty complicated when he talks about transactional analysis. So I'm not going to get into it all because the way I use transactional analysis is not particularly complicated. So here are the keys from my version of transactional analysis that can help you understand why you and your partner maybe play out these unhealthy scripts. So 1, imagine an interaction with your partner like a movie script. 2 actors, you and your partner, each are given a role to play. Who gives the roles? Where do these roles come from? All of a sudden you find yourself playing a role, but why? The fact is, you actually can decide what role you play. But you may not even be aware that you're playing a role or that you can decide. Often we end up falling into the same old roles, not because we're intentionally choosing them, but because it's just the way we always do it. It's mindless. Number 2, adult to adult is most healthy, which makes sense, right? Rational to rational. Number 3, the most common unhealthy scripts are parent to child and vice versa, child to parent. But there's also another one that comes up quite a bit I see in my practice, child to child. All of those interactions are unhealthy. Adult to adult is still the gold standard. The transaction itself, when you and your partner are interacting, I like to see it as a call and a response. So I call to you from one of my ego states, and I call directly to one of your ego states, your parent, your adult, or your child. And the ego state that I call to is the one you'll most want to respond from. It's just human nature. It creates an urge to respond from that ego state. So if I respond from my parent, Lily, to your child, have I ever done that in our lives? Maybe like every day for 15 years?
15.
When you were growing up?
Oh, yeah, I remember that.
On your 15th birthday. On your 15th birthday, I stopped that immediately. And ever since then, every interaction we've had has been adult to adult, obviously.
Of course.
Right?
Yeah.
Yeah, sometimes we go child to child though, and that's fun. Right. Yeah, so if I call from my parents, Lily, to your child, you're going to feel a strong urge to respond from your child to my parents. That's kind of the way it works. And I see this all the time in my practice with couples. And I've been married for 30 years, and I've seen it happen a lot over that time period with my wife and I too. It's so easy to fall into these things. And number 5, in most relationships, there are consistent scripts, kind of games that we play over and over again. One is, one partner is always a parent and the other is always a child. Some relationships, that's the case. Another example of a script might be when you get in arguments, one partner switches into the parent role and one switches into the child role, almost automatically without realizing. And then a third potential script is when partners change scripts according to the situation. So examples of this might be around finances, maybe the husband is in the parent role and the wife is in the child role, or vice versa. Or when it's about relationship management, the wife moves into the parent role and the husband moves into the child role, or vice versa. So those are 3 examples of how scripts may play out in relationships. So in order to get a better sense of how transactional analysis works, I'm going to show you a quick clip from the movie called The Breakup with Jennifer Aniston and Vince Vaughn. Came out in 2006, and I gotta say, it's got some really authentic portrayals of relationship conflict, almost uncomfortably so. You watch it and you're kind of like cringing because it hits really close to home. So kudos to the actors. And so we're gonna watch a little clip. It'll show some of these key issues that come up. And then after the clip, I'm gonna talk about how we can deal with this, how we can move to health from unhealth, from lack of health, from de-health, from anti-health.
Well, I'm gonna go do the dishes.
Cool.
It'd be nice if you helped me.
No problem. We'll get them a little bit later. I'm just gonna hit the streets here for a little
Gary,
bit.
come on. I don't want to do them later. Let's just do them now. Take 15 minutes.
Oh, honey, I am so exhausted. I just honestly want to relax for a little bit. If I could just sit here, let my food digest, and just try to enjoy the quiet for a little bit. Get some, get some, get some. That's what happens. And we can clean the dishes tomorrow.
Gary, you know, I don't like waking up to a dirty kitchen.
Who cares?
I care, all right? I care. I busted my ass all day cleaning this house and then cooking that meal, and I worked today. It would be nice if you said thank you and helped me with the dishes.
Fine.
Okay, so this is a really good clip because you can see how Jennifer Aniston and Vince Vaughn easily and effortlessly and unintentionally, unconsciously fall into these roles. It doesn't seem as though they're thinking about it, right? It just seems as though this is the most natural thing in the world. And this is usually what happens with our scripts that we play. Clearly, Jennifer Aniston falls into the parent role and Vince Vaughn falls into the child role. You can also see this idea of call and response. So when Jennifer Aniston is trying to get Vince Vaughn to get off the couch and help her with the dishes, her parent is calling to Vince Vaughn's child. And Vince Vaughn feels the urge to then respond from his child to her parent. So you remember key number 5 was in most relationships, there are consistent scripts. Maybe something that you can do, you can check out this movie and let me know what Vince Vaughn and Jennifer Aniston's script is. Is Jennifer Aniston always in the parenting role and Vince Vaughn always in the child role? Or do they only fall into those roles in certain circumstances? Something to think about. Clearly, when they argue like this, Jennifer Aniston moves into the parenting role quickly and Vince Vaughn into the child role quickly, right? So we've talked a little bit about how things can go wrong regarding transactional analysis and scripts. Let's figure out how to move towards something healthy, how to get away from these unhealthy scripts. So here's 4 things to do. 1, realize that you're in a script and playing a role. So Lil, in that little clip there, how might that have made a difference with Jennifer Aniston and Vince Vaughn? If he wanted to make overt and obvious what he was doing, like what words could he say to highlight the fact that they were in this script and he intended to change the script?
Not complain, acknowledge everything that she did.
Mm-hmm.
And then explain that he wants to help, but he's feeling a little burnout from work.
That would be really healthy communication. Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. So the first thing would be healthy action that you mentioned. That would be adult action, going and doing the dishes. He could explain how he's feeling, do the dishes, and then communicate that he's going to come back later and do what he wants to do.
Not even that. If I was in a situation, I wouldn't even care if he did the dishes or not. I would just want him to say, like, acknowledge everything that she did and that he would do it soon, but he just needs a little bit of a break right now.
Yeah, that would be totally adult to adult communication. Absolutely. And the other thing
then I would just do them myself.
What's that?
Then I would just do them myself because it's not really that. That's not really what she's asking.
Ah, I raised a smart daughter. I just call him as I see him. I raised a smart daughter. Tell me what you mean by that, because I think you're totally right.
She definitely doesn't care about the dishes, and she would gladly do them anyway, I think. She just doesn't feel acknowledged in everything that she did.
Yeah.
And he doesn't either. That's the whole point of the whole conversation.
Yeah. So if they acknowledged each other, that would really ramp up the adult component, right? Mm-hmm. Yeah, absolutely. That's so healthy. That's so healthy. So the only other thing that I would add is either of them could be overt in telegraphing the old script that they were in and the new script that they wanted, right? So either Vince Vaughn or Jennifer Aniston. So maybe Jennifer Aniston could say, oh, I hear myself nagging you and I hate how I sound when I'm doing that. I'm doing the parent thing again. I just want to talk to you as an adult. And then she can talk to him as an adult. You know what I mean? So not only can you act like an adult and talk like an adult, but you can do that meta communication where you're highlighting the script that you're in and the script that you want to be in instead, right? Yeah. So that would have made the situation way better. Absolutely. So that's what she could have done, or he could have done, to realize that they were in this unhealthy script, playing this unhealthy role. And then internally they could remind themselves that they're the ones who determine the role that they play, nobody else. So if they're in an unhealthy role, they can change to a more healthier role, just like the one Lily suggested. So number 1 is realizing that you're in a script and playing a role. Number 2 is realizing that you get to decide what role you play. And then number 3 is choosing your adult role when you're calling or responding, right? And Lily's example was completely adult. That was perfect. Yeah. But you can see when she was talking about the dishes, her parent was speaking directly, was calling directly to Vince Vaughn's child. And then Vince Vaughn listened to his urge to respond from his child right back to her parents. And then number 4 is call directly to your partner's adult. So not only do you have to choose your adult role, but you have to choose to direct your communication to your partner's adult and not their child. And those are 4 ways to get out of this unhealthy script that you're in. So that's pretty much a wrap for today. I hope all you snowmen out there get your relationships figured out. And from now on, it's all adult to adult. I know you can do it. As always, if you can click the subscribe button, I think, is that the proper technique?
Hit?
Click subscribe.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. So if you can click the subscribe button, then go ahead and do it because that'd be amazing. And also, if you could click the like button, I'd love you for it. And add a comment too, because I want to hear what you think about the episodes, and I want to hear about your ideas for future episodes so that I can include those too. And with that, I'm just going to come around and say it. Take care, y'all. Here we've got me doing my psychotherapy thing, but what? Snow person, snowmen, snow things, snow circles, piles of snow circles.
Why do you say a snow couple?
A snow couple. Yeah. I like a pile of snow circles. And so what you'll know, Tiss.